Becky Simzik. I am the president and co-founder of New Nashville North Entertainment, a record label that supports the artist Glenn Stewart. Welcome, Glenn.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great. The new album, Breaking Boundaries,
Yes.
does it have an overall theme?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of life stuff that happens every day and through the years and stuff like that, and as experiences happen, you tend to kind of write them down, or they tend to influence what goes into a song.
Did you write the songs on the record?
Not all of them. I wrote a little bit more than a quarter of them. It was a lot of personal hardships and relationship comings and goings and beginnings and endings and so forth. So, although, I didn't write 100% of the album, there's still a lot of that influence in there, and the songs that are on there that were presented by some of the producers and stuff are still extremely meaningful to the overall theme and overall tone of Breaking Boundaries.
So how is it different from the first album that you self-produced?
Really different. I'm a mad control freak, if you don't already know that. So first album, I went from playing all the drums, all the bass, like pretty much the whole thing myself. I had a guitar player come in and do some stuff, keyboard player and stuff, but to actually completely give up control of the second album, when I'm sitting down with the producers and the musicians playing acoustic, here's kind of like what the idea is, and then when the guys come in and actually play it, you're on pins and needles because you don't know what it's going to sound like. So it's like this huge, like, oh my gosh, I'm a control freak, I need to let go. And then it was crazy because once the guys started playing it, I'm like, it made the hairs on my hand and the back of my neck stand up straight because it was they pulled it out of my head.
The second record, there's, like you said, you didn't write everything. You were a very strong lyricist and you write some amazing music. So how does it feel to cover songs from other artists that aren't your original ones, like the first album?
It's not a big deal because to me a good song is a good song. And I think if, when things are presented, I'll listen to it and be like, yeah, this is like what I can put on it, put my spin on it, and different things that we can go and do to it, in the final mix downs and really actually have a say of, no, I want heavier guitar in there, or I want another part in here, or, a good song is a good song. And, when I'm in there and I'm singing it, I just try to just kind of balls to the wall with it and see what I can do to make it my own, basically.
That makes a lot of sense. So you said you wrote about a quarter of the songs on here. You've made the other songs your own, so you feel really good about the results.
Absolutely,
of this album
absolutely.
And how it came out.
Yeah, I mean, compared to the first one, sound quality, production quality, I mean, it's as close to perfection as far as I'm concerned is possible. Like I can't listen to my first CD at all. It makes me crazy. I mean, I wrote everything on it, and I did everything. So I hear the imperfections, because I'm my worst critic anyways. But with this one, I mean, we've got guys from Peter Frampton's band and George Strait's band and people who have recorded with, like, Lady Antebellum and Kenny Chesney and Luke Bryant and all them guys. They're the guy, they do this every single day. They come in, they cut it 1 and 2 takes, they've got the song down, and then they're doing like all the overdubs and stuff. So it's a really, really quick process versus the first one that took like 6 months to do all by myself, spending 6 months physically in the studio playing drums, playing bass, playing acoustic, singing the lead vocal, backup vocal, and all that sort of stuff. This one, I flew in, did the vocals, hung out with the engineers, watched them record everything, and gave my input. I said, oh wait, let's change that part around a little bit. So, I mean, time spent was like minimal. It just took a bazillion years to get it done, but it's done.
Who were your musical influences?
I come from an 80s background, so I've got a big hair influence. I mean, from Poison to Bon Jovi to Skid Row to Judas Priest. And it was a lot of that pop metal. I liked the melodic stuff. I think some of my vocal God influences would definitely be like Sebastian Bach from Skid Row. I mean, the guy's got a bionic vocal cords. Kip Winger from Winger. They put so much melody and so much power and passion into the delivery of a lot of those records. It has given them lasting power. It's the same formula that's in today's country, whether it's Luke Bryant, Brantley Gilbert, Jason Aldean. It's all that same formula, the big hooks, the big choruses.
Right.
So it's very interesting, and it's kind of where I fit these days by default. Big Machine doing that, Best of Motley Crue album and all the covers and stuff, so I'm not all that far off.
Right, and there's a lot of feedback that I've heard about the album is there's people that love metal and love those hair bands that listen to this and go, this sounds like real rock and roll to me, it doesn't sound like country. And then other people go that are real hardcore country fans are like, this is a great country album. So you definitely have produced a unique sound that nobody else seems to be doing, even though there is a lot of that crossover in the industry right now. So that's pretty exciting. And tell us, how did you get started with music? How old were you when you picked up your first instrument?
Well, I was a real little kid. My parents had bought me this humongous acoustic. I couldn't wrap my arms around it, and I resented the fact that it was so big. So I had my guitar pick, and I hated playing that guitar because I wanted to play Kiss. I wanted to play Kiss, I wanted to put on makeup, and I wanted to be Ace Frehley. I'm like, okay, cool, keyboards. My parents had bought an organ. They're like, oh, maybe we'll try, organ or whatever. That lasted 2 weeks. The organ went back. To my great aunt's house, and there was a snare drum and a cymbal, thing like rat-tat-tatting and coming up with all these beats, and it was no effort to play that thing and just kind of hit tags with the cymbals and stuff. My parents were like, oh great, drums? Really? Not today, Satan. So then it's want a drum set for Christmas. Got a drum set when I was 10 and played drums for a lot of years in various rock bands and cover bands and stuff like that before transitioning over to bass guitar and subsequently back to acoustic and now singing and writing. So I started writing, had bought an acoustic, and during the breaks of the cover band, I would go out and I would do a half an hour set, just myself, an acoustic, singing some originals, a couple of covers, and people were really taking notice, coming up to the front of the stage and getting really engaged. You need to be engaged. It's not just going up and watching them play. It makes a difference to take the time, talk to the crowd, connect to the crowd. That's so important. A lot of the fans were there to kind of not necessarily see the cover band, but to come see the halftime shows, I guess. And then started telling me, you need to stop hiding behind a bass guitar and sing in front. And, the cover band over here kind of a little bit went by the wayside as I started to decide to really write the first record and stuff, record it, and then started gigging out, playing all original stuff and kind of dropped the covers all together. So
that makes a lot of sense. I have to tell you, the first time I went to one of your shows, one of the things that impressed me the most was how engaged you are with the audience, and that, as we said before, you have a really strong stage presence, and I think that's what your fans really do respond to, because you make it fun, you make it interactive. There's no sitting at the table and just kind of listening in the background. You make everybody be involved, and that's a lot of fun, and that speaks a lot to your charisma. Yeah,
there you go. Well, I remember sitting in an audience, and there was a lot of great artists, and I remember, I reference Kiss a lot because they were my favorite growing up, and Paul Stanley, with the engagement that he had with the crowd and taking the time, telling some stories, talking to the crowd, really hyping them up, getting them involved with the audience, and it was those bands that had the connection with the audience that I had the best time at those shows. And engagement is super important, because that you hold a vested interest with the people that are there to see you. So
and your fans obviously respond to that. So you've opened for some pretty big names in the last few years, and since you've started this whole country thing. And one of the things I do want to point out too is we've kind of coined a term for this new sound of yours, right? We're calling it country arena rock.
Country arena rock. It used to be country that kicks, but it does kick. And I want to even say it's borderline country, but like I said, it's where the music fits now. Yeah. So I've kind of gone into where it really fits, and that's the country.
And yet it's still a relatively unique sound that you have, which is what makes it exciting, I think, for new people who come to it.
Yep.
Like I said, there's a lot of crossover, and that's the next question I want to ask you is, going back to the songs that are on the album, do you have an actual favorite?
I really like Around Again a lot. There's so many good ones on there. Baby You're My Only is pretty substantial in meaning to me. But, there's not really a favorite. I think Around Again, from the production value, how it came out, knowing what I did to the original version of the song and stuff, there was a lot to be proud of. And there's some ass kickers in there. Rock This Place, Rock and Roll Cowboy, but even Little Miss John Wayne that was submitted. Right. There's so many good songs on it.
There's not a bad song.
I listen to the whole thing over and over and over. I can't get enough of it myself.
It's great. And you have an acoustic version of Baby You're My Only.
It's true. It's true.
So we get a bonus track, which is nice, and that's one that you wrote.
Yep.
So that speaks a lot to your talent.
Yep.
As a songwriter, because
Thank
it's
you.
a great song, and I listen to some of these songs and I see "Baby You're on My Only" as being a wedding song, and some of these other songs could be crossover into lots of different genres that
Dancing
don't
with the
exist anymore.
Stars, come on.
Yep, exactly. There's a song on here called "Dancing," and it's perfect for a waltz. So I would love to hear that song on Dancing with the Stars.
Get on it.
What's next for Glenn Stewart? What's next on your horizon? What
New video, and it just seems like when you've gone kind of so far, some other door opens up. And just with the whole Around Again thing, I didn't plan on making another video, but when you get tweeted by Rue saying go check it out, and you get some other support from the franchise, it kind of kickstarts it into the next thing.
Sure.
And you never know. So what's on the plate right now? Shooting the video and see what the response is from that, see who gets involved with it.
That's really interesting about the first record, because I love both records.
We're gonna